Today on Personal Injury Court.
This is the black leopard.
This is the black leopard.
So I went to rub her back, and then next thing I know, these claws, these 4 big leopard claws are at my face.
You are suing for $350,000.
I lost my finger because of you.
This is not my fault.
I happen to be the 3rd incident in the past 5 years.
There is a fence between Miss Stafford and this
Yes.
black leopard.
A definitive fence, and she crossed it.
Judge Gino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Stafford versus Sharp and Rebecca's Big Cat Reserve. Miss Stafford, it's my understanding that you are suing the defendants for your finger being ripped off by a black leopard. You're asking this court to award you $100,000 for past medicals, $100,000 for future medicals, and $150,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $350,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Sharp, you don't believe that this was your fault. You believe that this was her fault, and she's responsible for her finger being ripped off. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's get into the legal sauce. Ms. Stafford, tell me about how you end up at a Big Cat Reserve.
I have a full-time job selling my own artwork. I make hand-sewn embroidery, and a lot of my subjects are cats, like you can see right there.
That's some of your work?
That's some of my work, yes, Your Honor. And so I sell online, but I also go to farmers markets and festivals, and that's actually where I met Rebecca. She was just at a farmers market, and she happened upon my artwork, and we bonded over our love of cats.
So you knew Ms. Sharp before this day?
Yes, Your Honor. We've known each other for 1 year.
And Ms. Sharp, you all were friends before this happened, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about how someone gets a Big Cat Reserve.
I grew up in Africa. I grew up with elephant and giraffe. Spent a lot of time outdoors. My dad was an archaeologist, and I love cats. Always had animals. But in Africa, we went to the wild animal sanctuary, and that's when I really fell in love with big cats. And I knew in my life I wanted to do something with animals to help them.
Now that looks like a house cat. I mean, you're not at your reserve, it's not house cats, right?
No, our reserve is huge. I've had it for about 6 years now. Oh, so we have baby tigers. This is Monique.
Like this? And that's a baby tiger.
That's a baby tiger. So we also have a lynx, which is a little bit smaller of the big cats.
Okay.
Kind of bigger than your average house cat, but pretty formidable. This is Jackie. She's our black leopard.
This is the black leopard. Now, she looks pretty calm, right? I mean, she's bigger than a house cat, but
oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like a house cat on steroids, right? So you have all these cats in the reserve. They're in cages?
No.
What are they in?
They are in an enclosure, so there are fences and boundaries, but they have their own habitat.
Miss Stafford, you end up at this Big Cat Reserve. How'd you get there?
She invited me for a private tour.
So you had to be pretty excited about that.
I was really excited, yes.
So what happened?
So Rebecca really was being a friend and was trying to calm me down and telling me how gentle and sweet these cats are.
Okay.
And I was right by her side. She walked me right up to the enclosure, and then she turned her back. She went away, and she did a good job of easing my nerves. So I went to pet Jackie because she kept saying how sweet she was. So I went to rub her back, and then next thing I know, these claws, these 4 big leopard claws are at my face, and my face is gashed, blood dripping everywhere there. It was so much blood, Your Honor. And then next thing I knew, before I could even think, my hand, she bit my ring finger, Your Honor. And as you can see, it's gone. I have a partially amputated ring finger, and I lost my engagement ring. I had just gotten a few weeks prior. I was newly engaged, and it's gone.
Ms. Sharp, do you remember this day, obviously, right? Tell me how you remember it happening.
I invited Miss Courtney to come, and I thought that this could really help with her artwork. And I invited her on a private tour because I thought she would have a better chance of interacting, seeing the animals, not interacting with them, but just seeing them and appreciating their size. So this could maybe help out her artwork. And I turned my back to attend to one of the other animals, and I just hear screaming, turn around, and this is one of the most horrific things I've ever encountered. And Courtney is bleeding. I run to her attention. I took my own shirt and I
This was a
put it
bad
over.
scene.
It was bad. I called 911. I got her to immediate medical attention.
Did this surprise you that Jackie would do such a thing? Jackie the leopard?
Jackie has never demonstrated any form of aggression, but Jackie is a wild animal, and when her space has been encroached, she's gonna communicate, and she did.
Well, if you invite her to the park, what did you expect that she was going to do with Jackie?
I thought that she would see Jackie and feel her presence, but not touch.
Why didn't you just look and not try to touch?
Your Honor, she brought me right up to the enclosure. As she said, there are no cages. So it just gives this inviting feeling like these are animals that you can interact with. And again, she was calming me. She said that Jackie was so sweet. She mischaracterized Jackie.
I never
and
told
said that
you
she
it
was
was
so
safe
sweet.
to-
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Coming up,
Miss Sharp, she does look sweet, right?
Of course, but you know, a grandma can tell her kid that she's got sweet cheeks, sweet enough to eat, but it's a figure of speech. You don't eat the kid's cheeks. She just thinks she's gonna be all lovey-dovey, sing kumbaya, and be best friends with a kitty cat. This is a wild animal.
If I shouldn't have been in that area, she should have had me step back. I lost my finger because of this. I lost my finger because of you.
Jackie has never demonstrated any form of aggression, but Jackie is a wild animal.
So it just gives this inviting feeling like these are animals that you can interact with. And again, she was calming me. She said that Jackie was so sweet. She mischaracterized Jackie.
I never
and
told
said that
you
she
it
was
was
so
safe
sweet.
to-
Excuse me, I'm talking. She gave me no reason to believe that there was any.
Had you ever
is
been
a-
that close to a leopard before?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is a first-time experience. If she says Jackie's sweet, you think Jackie's sweet.
Exactly.
That's a leopard.
I mean, Miss Sharp, she does look sweet, right?
Of course, but you know, a grandma can tell her kid that she's got sweet cheeks, sweet enough to eat, but it's a figure of speech. You don't eat the kid's cheeks.
When you own a reserve that has these dangerous animals, then you don't rely on figure of speech. You say explicitly what you can and cannot do, and you did not do that.
Well, you know, y'all talk like friends today, but you gotta talk to me today. Y'all can be friends after this, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So Jackie is a wild animal, right?
Right, not a
You knew that, true?
True.
Jackie is sweet and beautiful and formidable, but she is not someone you would snuggle with, and I don't know how Miss Courtney thought she's gonna be all lovey-dovey, sing kumbaya, and be best friends with a kitty cat. This is a wild animal.
How would she know not to pet it if the animal is close enough to touch it?
There is a boundary. We have a fence line. Everybody knows you don't cross the yellow line on the street. I don't know if she needs somebody in the car with her just to remind her not to cross the yellow line.
I don't appreciate that because that's something that's every day. This is not an everyday situation.
That's right.
So it was her responsibility as the owner to really talk me through what I can and can't do. She's the one who walked me up to the enclosure. So if I shouldn't have been in that area, she should have had me step back. And you know, Your Honor, I lost my finger because of this. I lost my finger because of you.
You waited until my back was turned, just like a little kid who would want to take a cookie
did you
from
tell
the
her to
cookie
wait?
jar.
Did you tell her, look,
She
hold
never
on for a minute?
asked.
She never asked you.
She never asked. I know my cat. And Jackie, I would say, no, do not touch.
I see that you are asking this court to award you $100,000 for future medicals, and you have submitted $100,000 in past medicals.
Yes.
You got a big financial burden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because, you know, in these cases, it's an emotional burden, a financial burden, a lifelong bag of sand on your back when you have injuries like this.
And Your Honor, a bride has so many expenses to begin with. I was already budgeting for this big wedding, so I just definitely did not expect these expenses.
These are wild cats, and I feel terrible that you lost your finger and that you've had to undergo these surgeries and this pain. I can't imagine what you've been through, but these are wild animals. You don't need to be told not to stick your hand in an electric socket. These are things you should know as a grown adult.
Next.
A wild cat, you just know, is a wild animal. Who would stick their hand into the presence of an animal?
I wasn't out in the wild. I happened to be the third incident in the past 5 years. I actually provided a video today.
This court has consulted an animal behaviorist named Greg Smith Aldridge.
These guys will never be domesticated. They're always a wild cat, no matter how long they spend in captivity.
And I feel terrible that you lost your finger, and I can't imagine what you've been through, but these are wild animals. You don't need to be told not to stick your hand in an electric socket. These are things you should know as a grown adult. A wild cat, you just know, is a wild animal, and you do everything in your power to stay away from them. Who would stick their hand into the presence of an animal knowingly? What did you think would happen?
Your Honor,
Why did you want to touch?
I wasn't out in the wild. I'm at this sanctuary where these animals have been groomed and trained, so I didn't know.
Ladies, I know very little about house cats and even less about wild cats. This court has consulted an animal behaviorist named Greg Smith Aldridge. We're going to bring him in so he can tell us about these wild cats. Sheriff Matt, will you get Mr. Smith Aldridge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't touch, Courtney.
Mr. Smith Aldridge, what kind of cat is this?
This is a Canadian lynx. This is Adam. He's a 5-year-old male, and this is the biggest he will get. He's about 25 pounds.
Well, how do wild cats behave around people?
These guys will never be domesticated. They're always a wild cat, no matter how long they spend in captivity.
What makes a wild cat like this aggressive or agitated?
There are so many factors. I mean, any amount of teasing or goading, and it could be something that the person doesn't even really realize that they're doing. Could be something that set these guys off.
But is there a safe way for the average person to interact with a wild cat like this?
The average person? No, not without supervision by professionals. I mean, if you're running a sanctuary and this is something that you do on a daily basis, then I would consider you a professional. But somebody who's just an average stepping up to interact with an animal that doesn't know anything, that's not safe.
Well, with the black leopard, are there any warning signs that Miss Stafford would see and notice and heed to?
Cats have a lot of warning signs. Their eyes flash green, their ears go back, their tail would thump rapidly. These are all, we call a big cat an honest animal for that reason. They are going to display before they strike.
Miss Stafford, did you see any of this when this black leopard attacked you?
Your Honor, I only had time to reach my hand out and I was already being attacked. It wasn't this nice progression of these warning signs that I could have read.
One of the things that you did was you got into her space, and that was Jackie's territory.
But you didn't prevent me
Adam
from
looks
being
like
able
he's
to go
getting a little
into space.
uncomfortable. So, Mr. Smith Aldridge and Miss Burns, thank you so much. You all can take Adam back into the room.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Sheriff, Adam's looking at you like y'all know each other.
No, I don't know him.
Whoops. Sorry.
Safety never takes a holiday. Is your place safe even in light of this?
It is 100% safe, and if people follow certain guidelines, then I thought that Courtney understood not to touch a wild animal, specifically one she'd never even been around before. And
Your
a
Honor,
wild
she's
animal.
not telling the full truth.
Well, tell me about
I
it.
happened to be the third incident in the past 5 years. One of the incidents, I actually provided a video today, and this actually happened to 2 of her workers.
Well, let's take a look at it. Now, Miss Sharp, this is at your Big Cat Reserve, right?
Right.
You call that safe?
Well, Our volunteers handled themselves perfectly, and yes, they did incur some scratches from this, but they've come back. They understand the risk that they assume by taking on this passion in life.
So, for the record, there is a fence between Miss Stafford and this
Yes,
black leopard.
a definitive fence, and she crossed it.
I did, Your Honor, but that was after she coached me through saying how sweet this animal was.
Ahead of this visit, I informed Miss Courtney to go look at my website. It says explicit instructions of do not touch. Look at the animals. Keep
I mean,
a
that
safe
looks like
distance.
safety to me. Didn't you know you're not supposed to touch the animals?
Your Honor, she did tell me to look at the website, but again, this was not a normal visit. She invited me to be her guest, and so I admit I did not look at the
looked
website
at your
because
website.
she was just, I was an invited guest, and I
So
was
you
going
didn't look
to
at the
visit my
website?
guest. Not prior to the event, no.
So, Ms. Sharp, if the patron doesn't look at the website, how will they know to not touch, keep safe distance, those kind of things?
Miss Courtney showed no signs that she had not reviewed the website. She was keeping her hands to herself. She wasn't making eye contact.
You can't assume that I didn't, that I looked
can't
at the website.
assume that you
can't
would
assume-
stick your hand in the tiger's
Right, so you
pen.
should have prepared me. You should have prepared me. You should have walked me through.
I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision.
The verdict is in.
You're asking this court for a total award of $350,000. You thought it was safe because she assured you that the cats were calm and you thought they were pettable. You have put up evidence, Ms. Sharp, that these are wild animals. She should have gone to your website and looked at do not touch, keep a safe distance, don't treat these as house cats.
These guys will never be domesticated. They're always a wild cat, no matter how long they spend in captivity.
I happen to be the third incident in the past 5 years.
This is your website here?
Yes, it says explicit instructions of do not touch.
I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff, you, Ms. Stafford, have to prove 3 things. You've got to prove that Ms. Sharp was wrong and that her wrong caused your injuries. Here, you've put up evidence that you went to her big cat reserve, you thought it was safe because she assured you that the cats were calm and you thought they were pettable. You reached in through the fence and this black leopard tore your finger off and scarred your face forever. You have put up evidence, Ms. Sharp, that these are wild animals. She should have gone to your website and looked at do not touch, keep a safe distance, don't treat these as house cats. But you did not warn her at the scene. Here, the evidence indicates that both parties have participated in the outcome. The legal principle that applies is comparative fault. Here I find that both of you were at fault, but not equally at fault. With a wild animal, you've got an extra burden to make sure that people are safe, but this was not all your fault. Based on the evidence, I find that you are 51% responsible and you, Ms. Stafford, are 49% responsible. I find in your favor for 51% of what you are seeking, which is $178,500. I find in your favor and against the defendant. That is my final award, and this matter is adjourned.
I lost my finger because of you.
I looked for it, couldn't find it. This means I'm going under.
Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Clinton versus Florence. Mrs. Clinton, Mr. and Mrs. Florence, I've read the materials that you've submitted to this court. It's my understanding, Ms. Clinton, that you are suing the Florences for injuries that you sustained while at a birthday party for kids on the Florences' property, and you're suing them for $10,000 in medical expenses, $7,500 for lost wages, and $82,500 for pain and suffering, for a total of $100,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. and Mrs. Florence, you all believe that she was a mama bear. She was a bit of a pushy parent, and she's kind of responsible for her own injuries, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now let's get into the legal sauce. What led up to you going to this birthday party?
Yes, my son and the Florence's son go to school together, and I don't know them very well just from when we used to be on PTA together.
But you had met them before this time?
Yes, a few times, Your Honor.
Okay.
So they invited us to a birthday party for their son, and we were under the impression it was going to be a lot of kids their age. They were going to have farm animals there that the kids could interact with. You know, all the parents were excited, all the kids were excited. My son kept begging me to be able to go.
Had you ever taken your son to a petting zoo or anywhere where there were animals before this day?
Yes, Your Honor, I had.
So you knew what to expect?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we arrived, and things did not turn out the way they should have.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Florence, this happened at your home.
Yes, Your Honor.
You all were planning for this birthday party, planning to have some animals, right? What went into the planning?
Well, Your Honor, we own a llama farm. So my son wanted to show off the llamas to all his friends.
So it's fair to say that y'all know llamas, right?
Your Honor.
Yes,
I mean,
Your
it's
Honor.
kind of an odd thing to know, but y'all know llamas because you raise
We
llamas.
do, yes, Your Honor.
We've been
Okay.
raising llamas for 10 years, Your Honor.
Yeah.
What makes a llama special?
Well, first off, they're very docile creatures. They're fantastic. we have a good time with them, and they're cute. You know,
Yeah, they look like sweet animals,
They're
but
sweet animals.
you know, Winnie the Pooh looks sweet.
See, there's our llama right there.
Yes.
We take them to events. We take Mabel and DeAndre to events, and we've never had an issue. We've never had issues.
So,
They're
you said
children.
Mabel. The llama's name is Mabel? You all name the llama?
We do.
Yes.
They're part
Okay.
of the family. Your
So
Honor.
having a llama at a birthday party, had y'all done this before?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, did anything happen before?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Clinton, tell me how you get to the party, now what happened? How did you get hurt?
Okay, sure. So, Your Honor, we were at the party. Kids were running around having a good time. The llamas were roaming around in a pasture, meadow, if you will. There were no pins of any kind that were containing. There were no ropes anywhere. There were nothing to hold the llama in place.
Were you concerned at this point for your safety and
Well,
your son's safety?
Your Honor, these are not
not
lions.
Not
They're llamas.
necessarily, Your
Yes, sir,
Honor.
I understand.
So we really didn't think we would have a reason to be concerned. It was only when we were told by the Florences that you know, the kids could get closer to take pictures and possibly.
And that
pet
was
the
one
animal.
thing you wanted to do. 'Cause
Correct,
people
my
want to
son.
create these memories.
Yes.
I took my son to a petting zoo, and
Right.
you know, when you think about it,
Your
Honor,
it's a happy thing. But
Yes,
when you
sir.
get close to it, it can be a little scary.
That is correct.
So tell me what happened with Mabel.
So as I was saying, we were able to get closer per the permission of the Florences. They
Okay.
told everyone we could get closer to take pictures. As a group, a lot of the kids ran up. The parents were with them to take pictures. There were several parents and people that were taking pictures from afar.
How close to Mabel are you at this point?
I would say maybe 2 feet, 3 feet tops.
2
So
inches, Your Honor.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
No.
Were you comfortable at 2 feet away?
Yes, as I said, I've never had an issue with the llama before, especially in a petting zoo.
So what happened?
So we're standing there in front of the llama, ready to take pictures. We were told that it was a gentle animal.
Okay.
So we took that word and we start to take pictures. And I noticed that the llama starts getting fidgety and wiggling around, moving a little
Was
bit
there
more.
flash or anything that made her wiggle?
Not at that point.
Okay.
So the kids.
A wiggling llama.
Well,
Your
Okay.
Honor, what she hasn't told you about this is that she went straight up to Mabel,
Yep.
and to get a picture with her son, she started snapping in Mabel's face and whistling.
That
Okay,
is
now,
not true,
now
Your
tell me
Honor.
about that.
So
'cause
that
That is
is
not true.
Hold on,
Act like
hold
that
on.
around an animal.
That's
You're gonna
important.
get what you deserve.
That's important.
Okay.
Did you snap when you're trying to get Mabel's attention?
No, Your Honor, I was not snapping. Now I did.
Yes, she did,
I
Your
did
Honor.
try
That's a
to
lie.
get
She did.
attention of the llama so that it wasn't looking away from the camera.
By snapping her
So,
fingers.
so you're up close to Mabel.
Right.
You're
I'm
trying to get a
2 feet away
photograph.
from. I'm trying to get a photograph.
How do you get hurt near a wiggling llama?
Well,
Your Honor, I'll
as-
tell you how she got hurt.
Well, I asked her. I'll hear from you.
So, Your Honor, as I could tell that the llama was getting agitated, I pushed my son out of the way, and as I tried to flee from it as well, it actually reared up and it spit on me, and I tried to flee, and
You
when it
deserved
reared
it.
up, I slipped
I'd spit
and
at you, too.
fell and hurt my back. No one deserves to be hurt like this. No one deserves to be hurt,
If you would've
period.
followed instructions,
Especially
you
at a
would've never
kid's
been hurt.
birthday party.
That's right, if
My
you would've
son
followed
was
instru-
traumatized
All these
because
other
of what
kids could
happened
follow
to me.
instructions and no one else got hurt.
I'm in so much pain.
Yeah.
And so is my son from seeing this. I can't even hold my son like I used to. I can't do anything that a mom should be able to do because
Folks,
what
I need
your
order.
animal did.
Yes,
I need order in this court. Tell me about your injury specifically. What happened to you?
Sure. So between my C1 and C2, I herniated my disc in my back, and it causes a lot of swelling and aches and pains and muscle spasms in my back. Basically, if you don't mind, I can show you.
Yes, ma'am.
It causes radiating pains. This is painful. And they radiate all the way
Does the
down.
brace help?
It does, but it's only temporary.
Tell me about the impact of this on your job.
So I've actually missed 62 days of work.
Ms. Clinton, you're asking for $82,500 for pain and suffering.
Yes.
That's a lot of pain and suffering. Tell me about that experience.
It hurts everything. It's not just my back. The back is connected to everything.
Mabel should be suing her.
So, Mr. Florence, you really mean that?
Mabel is the victim in this case. We're the victims.
Yeah.
Please tell me how Mabel is the
Okay,
victim.
well, first off, Your Honor, before we gave specific instructions,
We did.
I got about when we go see the llama, do not come close, no loud noises, no fast, jerky movements. And
Did y'all know that this kind of stuff agitates Mabel?
yes.
Well, that's how
absolutely.
llamas are, Your Honor. You treat them with respect and you walk slowly toward them.
Here's the problem, Your Honor. Even though they're stating that they gave clear instructions, no, they did not. They said, don't come near the llama, don't.
And then she bums rushed the llama, Your Honor.
I don't even know what that means.
Mr. Florence, tell me this. Distance is obviously important, right?
Exactly.
But she took a
Hold
picture
on.
social-
What made you think that she was too close?
Well, we saw her picture on social media. Look how close
Look.
that is.
Hold on.
That is not,
Folks.
that is not
Is
even
that
2
2 feet?
feet away.
Folks,
Sorry, Your Honor.
please, order in this court.
Yes, sir.
I got to hear from both of you to get to the truth. Tell me a little bit about Mabel.
Well-
Give her some flavor so I can get close to
Well,
her.
Your Honor, when she was born, we didn't think she was going to make it. The vet said she probably wasn't going to make it. And so Mabel is our miracle llama. We had to hand feed her and
Sure.
we raised her. And there's times where...
She sounds like she's kind of your baby.
Oh,
She
she
is.
Okay.
Llamas are a little bit like dogs, Your Honor. So they're very personal. They have their own personality.
That's a big dog. How big are these llamas when they're full grown? How big are they?
They can get pretty big.
As big as a full-grown man. Your
Okay,
Honor.
that's pretty big dog if you compare them to dogs.
Your Honor, may I interject?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Looks are very deceiving when it comes to that llama because it looks sweet on the film.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's a couple of things. There's pins that are shown on the film right there.
Yes, ma'am.
They were not there during the party. We were told that there was going to be like a petting zoo. There were going to be animals that were available to be taken pictures with, come close to.
So you expected
Correct.
that your son and you would have the joy of petting Mabel.
Correct.
Okay.
And also that it's common sense when you have young children around wild animals
not
that you
wild,
have
Your Honor.
No, they
safety
aren't.
signs or safety precautions somewhere around. That is not a sweet animal. We went expecting to be able to go up, take pictures, maybe even pet the llamas. That's what the invitation, that's what all the kids were talking about. My son was excited to do that.
Well, it just says llamas. I don't know where she got the idea that we were running a petting zoo, that we were just going to have animals around
Yeah,
to
but
touch.
But you all expected
a
that
llama
people
farm.
want to touch Mabel, right?
They what? They
I mean,
must- Your
she is
Honor.
beautiful, right?
She is.
It's my understanding that y'all brought Mabel.
We
Yes, sir.
did. Yes, Your Honor.
Now, if she spits on me, we got a problem. You know that.
I don't think we need to worry about
Now,
it.
you all brought your cousin, I guess, is the llama handler?
Yes, sir.
it is.
So, Sheriff Matt, I need you to go get Mabel
Yes,
and
sir.
bring Mr. Florence in.
God. Okay.
We're going to meet Mabel.
I know Mabel, and I'm scared to death of Mabel.
It should be the other way around.
I think she's
Here's
probably
Mabel.
frightened of you.
Oh, y'all going to make me get a llama.
Hey, girl.
Does this look like a creature that's going to harm anybody, Your Honor? Look.
She's beautiful.
This
Well,
is
thank you, Your
thank
Honor.
you.
She is beautiful.
Thank you, Your Honor. We think so too.
Miss Clinton, I must tell you that Mabel doesn't look like a raging beast. I mean, this isn't a hyena in a harness.
But she also has someone holding her reins and keeping next to her when that was not the case at the party.
Mr. Florence, tell me about Mabel.
She is a 5-year-old llama. She's raised around the farm and used to being around people.
How is it that you know when Mabel is getting agitated or irritated?
You can tell a lot by body language, mostly with these guys. They don't make much noise, but you can tell a lot by her ears are up, so she's pretty relaxed, watching their tail. Pacing is a big issue.
So her ears go down when she gets agitated?
Yeah, when she's, if I
It's
don't...
opposite to a dog.
Right, like when I'm not giving her treats or when she's kind of nervous about
You're
things.
looking at me too. Okay.
So yeah.
Miss Clinton, you look like you are scared of Mabel right now.
I am. I'm
She is
terrified.
such a faker,
I'm
Your Honor.
terrified because I noticed that he's standing closer to the llama than I was, but it attacked me, and I
Well,
didn't
he's
do
a
anything.
llama handler, though.
Yes.
He knows
He's
llama.
being
Llama's his
quiet.
middle name. Mr. Florence, is it okay? Is it okay that I come over and touch Mabel?
Absolutely, yes. Just so you move slowly and don't make a lot of noise.
I'm not usually accused of moving fast.
All right.
Now, Matt, you know what to do if Mabel jumps out of line.
Don't run. Don't run, Your Honor.
Let me put this Barry White on her. Hey, Mabel. Now, where would I touch her?
Their necks. They're kind of head shy as far coming towards her face.
Okay.
Yeah, her neck.
She reminds me of somebody I met once.
Be careful. You're
beautiful.
You don't
Sweet
know.
girl,
Be careful.
Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
A sweet girl.
Gosh.
Yeah, a sweet girl.
Seems pretty docile to me, Miss Clinton.
Well,
Your Honor, if you want to do what she did towards Mabel, yeah, Mabel's going to do the same thing to you probably.
Tell me about what's that all about?
She was trying to get a picture, and she put her son right next to the llama.
Okay.
And then she started to snap at Mabel to get her to look
whistle.
at her and whistle.
Okay.
So she's right next to Mabel's face, and
Now,
she's
Mr.
snapping
Florence,
like this.
when people do that to a llama such as Mabel, what's likely to happen?
If it's too startling, anything that's going to startle them is going to cause them to try to retreat, to pull back. So she's, obviously I'm giving her treats. If I stop feeding her, obviously
do we
she's
need
never,
to get out of
she's never
here?
been in a courtroom either. So
I did wave my hand to get the llama's attention for the picture,
Yeah.
but I did not snap to make
so
noise
you
because
waved
I
your
heard
hand.
them heed that warning.
You waved your hand, but you didn't snap.
Any kind of noises that they're suggesting that I made was mimicking the noises that I heard them making towards the animal. I did it
So
to
you
try and
made
get
their noises to Mabel.
I tried, yes.
Do it to
Well,
me. I'm Mabel.
I tried. I
Like
tried.
this?
No, Your Honor, I did not snap my fingers.
Okay. Mr. Florence, you and beautiful Mabel may leave.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, Mabel.
Your Honor, as you see, Mabel is used to people. She only responds aggressively when someone acts aggressively towards her.
Absolutely.
And we have never had that issue before. It has never happened.
Y'all basically say zero responsibility for
Absolutely.
you.
Yes, Your Honor,
All her
I
fault.
think it's totally on her.
Mr. Florence, you've said a certain feeling about this
Oh, yeah,
that doesn't involve a soft heart.
First off,
you see she's
attack us.
hurt, right? And
we-
it certainly is no fun to be spat
We are truly
upon.
sorry that she is hurt.
Yes, ma'am.
But we
Yeah. But
that
feel
was by her
like
own
it's
doing.
so unjust to us when we were trying to include her
nice,
son.
yes.
She has a reputation. She has a reputation as an aggressive mother. She got kicked off the PTA at
I think
school.
she was drunk.
Kicked-
She came in drunk,
Kicked
probably.
off the
no, I
PTA.
don't even drink.
I mean, Miss Clinton, it's kind of like flunking kindergarten or something. How you get kicked out of the PTA?
Well, ever since I did meet Mrs. Florence,
Yes, ma'am.
I found out, and feel like she's always had a vendetta against me.
Do you
She's
think
very-
she got you kicked out of the PTA?
Yes, and the reason I say that is
The
because
plot thickens. This started out as llama drama. Now this is mama drama.
Your Honor.
And Your Honor, it should
I
have
didn't know
never
I had
brought
this
up.
drama, Your Honor. This is a new one for me.
I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision. In every personal injury case, you really have three things you have to prove. Mrs. Clinton, you have to prove that the Florences were wrong and that their wrong caused your injuries. Here, though, Mrs. Clinton, you moved. You pulled your boy out the way. You tried to get a photo. That's taking some risk when you don't know this animal. You all, on the other hand, close to the animal, taking pictures, loud noises, swift movements, those things set Mabel off, and you should have done a better job to notify parents, because frankly, we're dealing with kids. A kid could have gotten hurt.
you.
But this case represents a shared fault. That is, the law recognizes that fault can be compared. It's called comparative negligence. Here, I find that you were responsible, but you weren't half responsible. You decided to run. Some would call that an overreaction. You all are certainly at fault because this llama was within your control. You could have given better instructions. I find that you are 49% responsible. And instead of awarding you $100,000 as you seek, I'm going to award you 51% of that, and that is $51,000 against the Florences. That is my final decision, and this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Richard Harris has to say.
The law requires you to be responsible for looking after your own safety. The plaintiff put herself in harm's way despite the defendant's warning about getting too close to the llama. As a general rule, around any animal, keep a safe distance. The plaintiff ultimately won because the llama is a wild animal, and the defendants have more of a responsibility to protect the plaintiff.